Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. So the day this video is going out is the day of reckoning, so to speak. Is the day that the new selection pack Outlaws from the Inferno has been released. And also the day that a deck that some people have not been looking forward to is coming out. And that is going to be Tenpai. Of course, here we have Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon in order to kind of represent, you know, the archetype as a whole. But even if you don't play paper like me, you've probably heard of this deck from people who do. It is a, at this point, fairly infamous going second OTK deck. And there have been a lot of people, like I said, who have not kind of been looking forward to this coming to Master Duel for some understandable reasons. But is this really going to be like the be-all, end-all of what Best of One ranked ladder is going to look like? Is people spamming going second to just get a Tenpai OTK? That's what we're going to discuss today. Before we get too much into that, I really just want to stop and give a huge thanks to the patrons as well as the YouTube members. Of course, you're all thanked at the end of every single video in the outro as well, but I also wanted to make sure to give you all some time here at the front of the video to make sure that you all know I really do appreciate the support that comes in. Without the support from Patreon and YouTube members, it really would not be feasible for me to upload a video every single day. If you are interested in checking either of those things out and helping to support the channel, then there are going to be links in the description below. If you're interested in YouTube membership, the main perk for that is that you get to see videos as soon as they drop. So if you click the join button, you'll be able to sign up for YouTube membership and see those. Whereas over on Patreon, I actually upload exclusive full-length content, full-length being usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 plus minutes. I do that every single day over there. So if that's more your speed, or if you are feeling extra generous and want to do both, either way, that is going to be linked in the description below, patreon.com/hexlex. But regardless, even if you're just sticking around watching here on YouTube, that is also far more than enough. But anyway, now that's out of the way, let's talk about Tenpai a little bit. So not only do we know that Tenpai is coming, I'm recording this a couple of days before the actual pack drops. Again, this video should be coming out the day the pack does drop. Not only do we know that Tenpai is coming, but there is even a pre-hit to the deck to the field spell, Sangen Summoning. I am going to be pronouncing it that way. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but just mostly to differentiate from the monster Sangan. That's obviously not how this is pronounced anyway. But anyway, this card is coming in at 2 copies instead of 3. And there are a lot of people who are not too pleased about this. I am kind of among them just because I know how strong this deck is. And this card is, I think, already limited in both the TCG and OCG. So I really think it probably should have come in at 1 here as well. But we'll talk about this card specifically here in just a moment. I think what I'm actually going to do here is pivot on over to Yugipedia, where we're going to take a look at the cards themselves. I'm going to read them out. That way so we just all have an idea of what these do. But not only that, I do also want to look at combo lines as well as tournament topping decks, you know, utilizing the Tenpai cards. That way we have an even better idea of what exactly this is all going to look like here in Master Duel. So we're going to start with reading Tenpai Dragon Pydra. This is going to be a level 3 Fire Dragon monster with 1700 attack and 1000 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add to your hand or set 1 Sangen spell or trap card from your deck. You can only use this effect of Tenpai Dragon Pydra once per turn. You take no battle damage from battles involving your Fire Dragon monsters. Once per turn, during the battle phase, you can quick effect. Immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro summon using this card you control. So that last effect is going to be pretty much the main kind of mechanic of the Tenpai deck, right? The ability to quick Synchro specifically during the battle phase, which not only lets you battle with these Tenpai dragons themselves, but then you can Synchro for the new Synchro material monster, and then that can get in and battle too. This card's a pretty simple starter. As you can see, it sets up your spell and trap cards, which will further extend your plays. The no battle damage part isn't particularly relevant because, let's be real, you're not trying to battle into your opponent's monsters here. You're just going to smack them down to 0 life points. And you can do that very easily in this deck. This deck is capable of putting out like somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 points of battle damage in a single battle phase. It's actually ridiculous, but pretty simple starter there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next card here. Tenpai Dragon Fadra. It's a level 3 Fire Dragon effect monster with 1600 attack and 1000 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, or at the start of the damage step, if a monster battles, you can target one level 4 or lower Fire Dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect of Tenpai Dragon Fadra once per turn. Your Fire Dragon monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can, quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro summon using this card you control. So, yeah, another obviously pretty good effect. It's pretty neat that this card can activate when it's summoned or when a monster battles, because then you have the ability to potentially synchro with something. Even if you like summon this out and you don't have anything already set up in your graveyard, you could like battle with stuff, sync with it, battle, Fadra to bring the thing back, and then that will probably let you go into yet another synchro monster, right? So, and again, of course, we have this pretty consistent last effect here of quick synchroing during the battle phase. Again, you probably are already seeing what the kind of main thing we're going for here is. Tenpai Dragon Shundra is going to be our last card here. This is a level 4 Fire Dragon Tuner effect monster, 1500 attack and 1000 defense. Once per turn during the battle phase, quick effect, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. You can only use each of the following effects of Tenpai Dragon Shundra once per turn. If you control a Fire Dragon monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. At the start of the damage step, if a monster battles, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Fire Dragon monster from your deck, except Tenpai Dragon Shundra. So, yeah, this is another one where it's like, this is, I think, both a very good extender, but this is also, I think this card could be a starter too. Just because, like, if you normal summon this and your opponent has, like, a wiped board, they don't have anything on board, right? You could normal summon this, enter battle phase, again, after you've, like, Darkhold, Raigeki, Lightning Sword, whatever. This battles, you summon a level 4 or lower from your deck, which can also battle, and then you can sink into 7, and I'm presuming from there still go into even further, like, you know, more plays. So, yeah, it's a starter, it's an extender, this card seems pretty darn good. And those 3 main deck monsters are actually it for the first wave. There are 2 other Tenpai Dragon cards that came out later. Don't know if at this time they're going to release all the Tenpai cards in one wave, because they've done it both ways in Master Duel, right? Where they've broken up, you know, even if it's only 1 or 2 cards in the follow-up wave, they still break it up among multiple releases. I truly do have no idea if those other cards are going to come out. So I'm going to talk about those other 2 follow-up cards after the rest of these, and then we'll cover those, right? So, all right. Sangenpai Bident Dragon is going to be a level 7 Fire Dragon Synchro Tuner effect monster with 2600 attack and 2000 defense. So, yeah, we've seen the first wave of main deck monsters. Let's see what the payoff is. Let's see what they synchro into. Material requirements are a Dragon Tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner Dragon monsters. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can target 1 Fire Dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn, except Dragon monsters. If 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, then you can destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field. You can only use this effect of Sangenpai Bident Dragon once per duel, and its previous effect only once per turn. So, yeah, I mean, again, I feel like it's really easy. Like, it's not hard to see how you're going to OTK here, right? Like, let's say you have the level 4 tuner that we just read, right? You battle with it, you summon one of the level 3 non-tuners from your deck, you battle with that, you synchro into this, you can bring back the level 3 non-tuner, battle with both this and the level 3 non-tuner, then you can use the level 3 non-tuner to quick synchro with this, and at that point, you not only have your new level 10 synchro monster, which could either be the Tenpai one we're going to look at here in a second, or a generic 10, but you can also, because you will have declared 3 or more attacks, just to bring this back. Again, it's very easy to see how trivially easy it is to deal 8k damage with this archetype, which again, of course, being so battle phase oriented is why it's going second, and why it plays a lot of board breaker, board wipe cards. Yeah, it's the wild thing here is like, You don't even have to battle into monsters to activate any of these effects. Wasn't that just the best way to balance this archetype? Just make it so the effects activate when they battle into monsters. That way you can't just, like, deal 8k damage this easily. But, I don't know. You know, the thing is, like, it's pretty clear at this point. I mean, it's been clear for quite some time as someone who's a longtime fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! But, like, Konami definitely kind of picks and chooses sometimes which archetypes are going to be, like, good, right? Like, look no further than Snake Eye. You know, Snake Eye Ash alone having so little restrictions, the fact that it can search itself, especially when so many cards that search cannot do so for themselves, it's a lesson that it feels like they should have learned, right? And we've seen Konami print, you know, multiple effects that let you attack like multiple times or something like that, but it says, you know, this only works if you battle into monsters, or strong effects that, you know, work in battle only work when they battle over monsters. And again, I really feel like that was a pretty easy clause to add to some of these effects, and then they just didn't because they wanted this deck to be good. So anyway, yeah, this is great. This card is obviously great. And the big boss monster that we saw earlier officially in client, the Tenpai Transcendent Dragon, is a level 10 Fire Dragon Synchro monster with 3,000 attack and 3,000 defense points. Material requirements are 1 Dragon Tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner dragon monsters. It says, all monsters your opponent controls must attack if able. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can change all monsters on the field to attack position. If 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, then you can destroy 1 card on the field. You can only use this effect of Tenpai Transcendent Dragon once per duel. So yeah, the level 7 Synchro that we just took a look at here also had that like once per duel restriction on the special summon effect if you've declared 3 or more attacks. I think it goes without saying that it does not matter that that's once per duel, because you're just going to win the duel at that point anyway. But it's funny I kind of said all that before I read over the level 10 Synchro, because to be fair, this does kind of seem to, you know, look like it's going in a direction where it does want to battle into your opponent's monsters, right? Or really, it's making your opponent's monsters battle and then preventing them from using effects during the battle phase. Like, I don't know, I think if Tenpai had leaned harder into that kind of direction, the archetype would have been more balanced and probably more interesting to a lot of people too. I definitely, again, with the all monsters your opponent's control must attack, your opponent can't activate effects during the battle phase. If this card is Synchro summoned, you change all monsters to attack position with the possibility of summoning this during your opponent's battle phase, right? I definitely see it. I understand what they were going for, kind of, you know. But again, the part I don't understand is the lack of clauses. Anyway, this card is, like, fine. It's mostly just going to be the big thing you go into to deal even more damage, right? The effects here are not the most relevant simply because you're probably going to just wipe your opponent's board before you start attacking anyway. But that's if everything goes well, right? There are lots of situations that you might get into. They're a little bit weird because your opponent had disruption, and then this card is like, you know, some of these effects might end up coming up. But, yeah, I don't think I need to clarify that you definitely play this card too. You absolutely play this one too. You definitely play all of the Tenpai cards that we've read so far. They're all good. They're literally all good. In fact, even with the follow-up wave, just spoiler alert, I think there's like exactly 1 Tenpai card you don't play. But anyway. Now we're going to take a look at the spell support. We have 2 spell cards, in addition to the 5 monsters we've seen that are part of Wave 1. And the first spell card is actually the one that's coming into Master Duel Semi-Limited. Although, as I said before, it's already currently limited in both OCG and TCG. I really wish they would have just done the same for Master Duel. It would have made a lot more sense. It would have been a lot more balanced, but whatever. I don't, you know, balance the game. So, anyway, so Sangen Summoning is a field spell card that says, during your main phase 1, fire dragon monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. During your main phase, you can add 1 Tenpai dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. You can only use this effect of Sangen Summoning once per turn. If this card is destroyed during the battle phase, you can target 1 dragon synchro monster you control double its attack. So it's pretty easy to see why this card is so good. Not only is it the quintessential field spell searcher, but it also kind of makes your Tenpai monsters into towers. It specifically even does it during your main phase 1, which is the point in time in which your opponent's probably going to try to interact with you. You know, in some way, shape, or form, as they're summoning your cards or playing your initial cards to start your combo line, right? So, yeah, the fact that this card just protects everything they're going to set up during the setup phase, and then also is a consistency card to just set yourself up. Like, you can just open Sangen summoning, and of course, any random card to discard, and then, like, that's enough to OTK on a nifty board. But, yeah, no, it's well, actually, I think sometimes even not on an empty board, but anyway, it's ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous card. Yeah, just consistency and protection all in one. The last effect I don't think really comes up very often, if at all, but I mean, I guess it could sometimes. But yeah, I definitely see why they pre-hit this card. 1. 2, they should have pre-hit it harder. And 3, it's also understandable why people are upset it was not pre-hit harder. It absolutely deserved it. So, how will things end up playing out? Again, we're just going to have to see here. We do have one more spell to take a look at, though, and that's going to be Sangen Kaimen. It's going to be a quick play spell card. This is apply one of these effects, or if you activate this card during the battle phase, you can apply any of them in sequence. It's got 2 different modes. First is add 1 level 4 lower fire dragon monster from your deck to your hand, and the other is special summon 1 fire dragon monster from your hand. You can only activate 1 Sangen Kaimen once per turn. So if you use this during the battle phase, the idea is that you can add and then special summon, effectively summoning the level 4 lower fire dragon from your deck. I actually thought this added a Tenpai monster specifically. I didn't realize it added any level 4 lower fire dragon monster. That's definitely worth noting. This card's also probably going to be a UR if I had to guess. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a 3 of. It's obviously good because it searches all of your stuff. And I don't really think I need to explain any more than that. It's a very, very good card for the deck. You definitely play free. So that is it for Wave 1. Now, like I said, there are 2 other cards that were in Wave 2. I'm going to go over those. I don't know if they're going to be in Master Duel at this point or not, but I guess we will by the time this is out. So you will know by the time you're watching this. So first up, we have Tenpai Dragon Genroku. This is a level 3 fire dragon monster with 0 attack and 1000 defense. This says, if this card is added to your hand, except by drawing it, you can special summon this card as a tuner, then you can increase its level by 1. Quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon 1 Tenpai Dragon monster from your deck, except Tenpai Dragon Genroku. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except dragon monsters. You can only use each effect of Tenpai Dragon Genroku once per turn. So this is the only one that does not have the quick synchro effects during the battle phase. It can treat itself as a tuner. So the idea here is nice, is that this can either be the level 3 non-tuner or the level 4 tuner, whichever you need for your combo line. It's got the Poplar effect of being able to summon itself even as it's doing that, which is nice. And it's also Lone Fire Blossom for our deck, which is cool. And it definitely increases the consistency. So I do think it's kind of neat this card fulfills multiple roles at once by, like, not only being a consistency booster for starting your plays, but also being able to fulfill multiple roles to continue or finish your plays, right? Yeah, from what I've seen in lists, you play like a couple of these. It's not like it's weird, right? Because it doesn't have the quick battle phase synchro effect, so you do have to keep that in mind, of course. But I think it is still a solid enough card for the deck. Again, we'll see if it actually comes out with the rest of these cards, as well as the other one we're going to read here, Sangen Kaiho, which is a normal trap card that says, during your main phase, if all monsters you control are fire dragon monsters, minimum 1, and your opponent controls more monsters than you, end the main phase. If 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard, draw 1 card, then you can special summon any number of Tenpai dragon monsters from your hand. You can only use each effect of Sangen Kaiho once per turn. So this card is the one I was alluding to that you don't actually play. It's just not good enough. It's kind of weird. This trap card, it's like, I don't really know what's going on with this trap card, because it's like you obviously want to activate it during your opponent's main phase, right? But that would mean that you would have to go first and set this. And like, why are you trying to go first in Tenpai? To resolve this card and end the main phase? Now, granted, that is a strong effect, but it's like, you could go first, set this, and then make your opponent, essentially, ideally, skip the majority of their main phase. Or you could go second and just kill them and just win. It's like, again, this is a glimpse, I think, of what Tenpai could have been, which is like, this same kind of like big battle phase synchro OTK strategy, but more of a build up to it as opposed to just going second and doing it all right away. Like this kind of a card, I think, in a deck that requires you to take a couple of turns to build up a big monster to win with during the battle phase would definitely be a lot more useful. But like, the problem with that is that it's 2024. Like what kind of a deck is trying to set up a big monster to win in battle phase over multiple turns, right? Like that's the kind of strategy that just has not been viable for like years and years and years. So this card ends up being just a little bit confusing, I think, in that regard. The graveyard effect is like, I don't know, not really necessary either. Like if you've already declared 3 or more attacks this turn, is drawing 1 card and then trying to summon out more Tenpais from your hand really gonna like be what wins you the duel? I imagine you have probably already won the game off of those 3 attacks and whatever ones are gonna follow that you can already set up very easily, right? So yeah, this card ultimately just does not end up seeing a lot of play. So alright, that's the kind of breakdown of each individual Tenpai card. Again, all but this last trap card do see play, so it is worth knowing each of these cards. So next, I want to take a look at some of the... you know what? I actually wanted to look at the list before the combo lines, I think. So, I have picked out an OCG metagame report from the end of April, almost May of earlier this year, 2024. I picked out this metagame report in particular because not only is the meta like actually pretty decently similar to, with of course some exceptions, what's currently going on in Master Duel, but more importantly, this iteration of Tenpai Dragon that we're going to see is with the first wave of support, in case that ends up being relevant. It's before the Molcharmi cards came out, so you won't see those in here. This will be, I think, one of the closest that we're going to see to a Master Duel build, and I wanted to go into a build that looked like this. That's why I really like Road of the King and looking at OCG builds when looking at how Master Duel is going to play out, right? Of course, Master Duel and OCG formats aren't one-to-one the same, but they are similar enough that I think we can do a little bit better comparisons there. So yeah, Fire King Snake Eye, but we're here for Tenpai. So this, I'm not going to really read the description here, although it does talk about Samurai Destroyer quite a bit, which will, I think, be a pretty good card as this one here in Tenpai Dragon and Master Duel as well. Samurai Destroyer battles with Skull Guardian, Protector of the Voice's voice, continuous effects negates Skull Guardian, reverts its attack along the Samurai Destroyer to destroy it. If your opponent could try to protect their Skull Guardian by using Radiance of the Voice's voice to destroy Samurai Destroyer before it declares an attack, Samurai Destroyer would be destroyed, but its 2 effects would trigger to special summon itself back from the grave, and your opponent would likely use Skull Guardian effect to negate it. Samurai Destroyer has fulfilled its purpose, forcing out 2 disruptions for the opponent. So yeah, pretty good against voices too. But more importantly, looking at the list here, yeah, I mean, this is pretty on par with what we have in Master Duel 2. The only real difference is the terraforming. We don't have that, but yeah, I mean, as you can see here, the deck is like very oriented on going second. This build that we're looking at in particular, it's kind of funny, it doesn't even really play board breakers that you would expect, like Lightning Storm or Raigeki or Dark Hole. It's on Forbidden Droplets, but otherwise it's mostly hand traps. And I actually think that's pretty smart because, like, here's the thing, right? I think a lot of people are going to play this kind of deck with board breakers, but I feel like opening multiple hand traps is almost always better than opening multiple board breakers, because there are some pretty nasty boards that your opponent could set up that either have like multiple waves of summoning to play around board breakers or just end on a ton of negates that can, like, you know, if you just jam a bunch of like Lightning Storms evenly, well, not evenly because you need your battle phase, of course, but Lightning Storm, Raigeki, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Feather Duster, that kind of a thing. If you just jam a bunch of those and not hand traps, right? If you open like Dark Hole, Raigeki, but your opponent ended on like, 4 negates, then there's a decent chance you're just not going to be able to clear their board. And I think playing the hand traps to stop them from setting up is probably the safer way of ensuring that. And Droplet is actually nice as a board breaker because a lot of the time it can't be chained to, but also it halves the attack of everything you negate, making their board easier to battle over and then OTKing easier. So I'm not saying that playing board breakers in this deck is always wrong, but I think a build like this is quite smart, and I think that this will probably be, if I had to guess, the kind of build that will end up seeing more success. Is, again, one that looks relatively similar to this. This builds on 3 Ghost Ogre as well, which I talked about when playing Math Mech yesterday, but definitely look out for Ghost Ogre if you're playing either with or against this deck. Ghost Ogre's already really good in this meta. Like, okay, even outside of metas where it's specifically good, Ghost Ogre is actually a solid card. Like, in an average metagame, it's not only not dead, but actually proactively useful, I would say more duels than not. However, the meta leading up to this one between Yubel with like Nightmare Throne and Nightmare Pain, and of course Snake Eye with like their field spell, and just, again, the meta in general, we have a lot of cards right now, pre-Tenpai even, that are susceptible to the Ghost Ogre. And of course, once Tenpai drops, this deck is very susceptible to Ghost Ogre. So yeah, I would definitely expect to see a lot more of it going forward. I think I only own 2 copies. I'll almost assuredly be crafting my 3rd, as, probably today. Again, the day this video is going out. But, yeah, I mean, again, this is like a lot of what you would expect to see, right? We've got 3 of the level 4 tuner. We got 3 of the Searcher, level 3 non-tuner. We got a bunch of hand traps, the Sangen summonings. We got 3 of the quick play spell, and then I don't know what else to say. Like, it feels pretty self-explanatory, right? You play a bunch of hand traps, those stop your opponent from popping off, you summon a Tenpai monster, enter battle phase, and then win. It's just that simple. So, alright, I did also, though, want to look at combo lines. So, this is Tenpai Dragon Combo Volume 1 on Road to the King. I'm going to link to all this stuff in the description below, by the way, in case you want to see it. This was from when the deck first released, so I need to do more research. In, at the time of recording this, it's still, a couple of days before Tenpai is actually coming out. So, hopefully these combos aren't, like, too outdated or anything. I know that this kind of a list here with the rocket monsters is, not what Tenpai is actually probably going to be played as, but to be fair, this was still a first place list in a tournament with 127 people. I think that's very respectable. And this will, even though this is the list that's showing an example, the rocket stuff only comes up in like the going first combo lines, which I'm not going to really focus on those. We're going to mainly focus at looking at the going second combo lines. But again, I don't even think a lot of it is like, I feel is still very self-explanatory as far as like you read the cards and it's not hard to figure out how you OTK. But again, we'll go ahead and read through these here. So, going second combo, 1, the Sangen Summoning +1 card. 1, activate the field spell, Sangen Summoning. Sangen Summoning 1 effect, add Pydra. That's going to be the white Tenpai monster there. Pydra from deck to hand, discard a card, normal summon Pydra. Pydra effect, add Kaiman, that of course being the quick play Searcher, from deck to hand. And that's all you do during the main phase. During the battle phase, attack with Pydra, that's 1700. Activate Kaiman to add Shundra from deck to hand, and then special summon it, because you're activating during the battle phase, right? Attack with Shundra, that's 1500 damage. Shundra effect, summon Fadra from deck, that's another 1600 damage. So, like, if these are all direct attacks, by the way, that's 16 plus 15 is 31, plus 17 is 4,800. That's 4,800 damage, and you haven't even Synchro summoned yet. By the way. By the way. So, after that, use Shundra's 3 effect. Sync Shundra and Pydra for Bident Dragon. Bident 1 effect, summon Pydra from Graveyard. Attack with the Bident, that's 2,600. Attack with Pydra, that's 1,700. That's OTK, by the way, because 26 plus 17 is 43, plus 48 is 8,800. So at this point, if your opponent didn't have anything on field, like any monsters, you've already killed them. You've already killed them by this point. We're literally halfway through the combo, step 13 out of 26, and you've already killed them. But let's keep going. Because after that, you can use Pydra's effect to sync Bident Dragon and Pydra into the Transcendent Dragon. Transcendent Dragon 1 effect activates if your opponent even has monsters left. You can attack directly for another 3k. Bident Dragon effect summons itself from the graveyard because you've declared 3 or more attacks at that point. Bident Dragon attacks again for 26. Fadra syncs itself with Pydra. Fadra's 1 effect activates to bring Pydra back from the yard. You attack with Pydra for another 1700. Pydra's 3 effect syncs the Bident Dragon that you brought back with Pydra for Trident Dragon. Trident Dragon, you might remember, is the old Raging Battle card that was worth $100 at one point because of this deck. But as you can see, you don't even need Trident Dragon to OTK necessarily, but it's also only a rare in Master Duel, so it's much easier to get there. But anyway, then you go into Trident Dragon. Trident Dragon, you destroy your other 2 cards, the Sangen Pai Transcendent Dragon and the Sangen Summoning. Sangen Summoning effect then doubles the attack of Trident Dragon. The Transcendent Dragon summons itself from the graveyard. That's another 3k. Doubled attack power Trident Dragon at 6k gets to battle 3 times for 18,000 by itself. So your average turn 1 combo line can do 37,400 points of damage. 37,400 points. That is literally enough to win the duel almost 5 times over. Almost 5 times over. That is absolutely ridiculous. And again, that is a 1.5 card combo line. 1.5 because it's the Sangen Summoning plus 1 card. So, but hey, good thing this went from 3 to 2, right? Right? But you can also do it with Pydra. You simply use Pydra to set the Sangen Summoning, then activate it for Shundra, and then Shundra summons itself, and then boom, you have the exact same setup there. Combo number 3 is to simply open the Shundra. Shundra being the tuner monster. Because I was even talking about this as we were reading them. Like, again, you just normal summon this card, right? You normal summon this, battle with it, that's 1500. Shundra specials Pydra. Then you add Kaimen, that's the quick play spell card. Attack with Pydra, Shundra F go into, and then yeah, you just start synchroing and doing the same things from there. Boom. You open this one monster, your opponent doesn't have any monsters on their field, you got 28,400 damage. That's actually just crazy. That's actually just absurd. Sangen Kaimen, the quick play spell card, also an OTK by itself. You don't even have to do any main phase setup. You literally do everything during the battle phase, and that's still over 20,000 points of damage. I don't know, I'm not reading all of these combo lines out because really a lot of it is like the same thing we read out in the first combo. And again, I feel like a lot of it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. If like you haven't seen this combo line in action yet, I feel like you could just log on to ladder at any given rank and play maybe 5 games tops, and you'll have seen this OTK play out probably at least once on release day. This is going to be a very popular deck. There are some going first lines. I want to read this first one because I don't think it uses any of the particular rocket cards that were featured in this build. Normal summon Pydra. Pydra effect, add Kaimen. That's the quick play spell. Activate the quick play spell for Shundra. Special Shundra. And then go into Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Then during the opponent's battle phase, Spheres 1 effect, tribute itself as cost, return a card from hand. Spheres 2 effect, summon Tenpai Dragon Fadra from deck. Fadra 1 effect, summon Shundra from grave. Fadra 3 effect, sync with Shundra for Bident Dragon. Bident Dragon summon Pydra. And then Pydra adds one of the spells. Then you can use Pydra's effect to sync with the Bident Dragon for the level 10. The level 10 being the one that switches everything to attack mode and forces your opponent to battle into it, right? So that is actually a setup that you could potentially do if your opponent, like, if you end up in a scenario where your opponent makes you go first. By the way, y'all, I should have said this earlier in the video because I know there's going to be people out here doing this. Just because Tenpai is out doesn't mean it's going to be correct to blind go second every game if you're not on Tenpai, right? Because I can already see a world where people are out here going to be running regular decks, regular as in, you know, ones that want to go first, but they'll just be blind going second for fear of facing Tenpai. Don't do that, because you're throwing against literally every single deck that isn't Tenpai, which is going to be the majority of Ranked Ladder, by the way. This deck will not be as ubiquitous as Tier Limit was when it was full power, quote-unquote full power, in Master Duel. And even that only ever reached a peak of like 40% play, right? So yeah, you'll never be facing against so many Tenpai that it's correct to blind second every single time if you're not on Tenpai, right? But anyway, let's see. Yeah, the rest of this is like the rocket combos. Discussion. Combo 1, 2, 3, and 4 are a variety of ways that Tenpai can pull off a one-turn kill by dealing tens of thousands of damage, as Tenpai requires a battle phase to utilize most of their effects. They are significantly weak going first, and we need to look outside their theme to improve their opening setup. Shuntra can be special where you control a fire dragon monster, allowing you to easily set up 2 dragons in the field. Heavenly Spheres is a classic choice to link summon. That's in combo 5, yep. Oh yeah, I was talking about using Kaiser Coliseum. Is that banned or limited in MD? I actually don't remember. I think it's banned, actually. Yeah, it's talking about the rocket setup, which again, we're not doing because we're not planning on going first. We're just always going to go second and no TK. So, I guess it's worth asking at this point, how do I feel about Tenpai coming in? Because again, like I said at the very beginning of the video, there's been a lot of dooming about this coming to Master Duel. A lot of people saying that MD is about to get a lot less fun. I'm going to hold my reservation because I've also seen people say, and I actually very much agree with this point, that like, while yes, the advent of Tenpai is certainly going to mean a lot more decks going second to try to OTK you, what that also means is that like, if you're playing a deck like Drytron, for example, this has got to be a great meta for you, right? Because Tenpai is going to be so popular, and that's a significant portion, not the majority as discussed before, but a significant portion of your matches are going to be letting you go first, in which case you can just set up the Herald and like a million negates on them. Now, granted, you have to play through their hand traps, and Tenpai can also play stuff like Shifter. I guess we didn't even see in that last list, did we? Good God. But yeah, I've seen people say the same thing about MathMech and other combo decks, and I'm kind of thinking like, okay, so if any combo deck that can play through hand traps reasonably well does well to set up against Tenpai, that's a lot of decks. That's a lot of viable decks. So will this be the be-all, end-all of Ranked Ladder? I can see both arguments, right? I can see people saying, like, this is going to make Ranked Ladder miserable because it's so easy for Tenpai to auto-go second and then just win. But at the same time, it's like the opponent going first is also going to mean they can set up, and there's a lot of decks in MD that can set up a lot of really scary boards. I'm thinking about, like, Synchron. Like, I love playing Synchron, and if Tenpai makes me go first, like, I definitely have ways I can play through hand traps. I'm pretty sure Synchron can do multiple hand rips. Like, if you resolve Junk Speeder, even if they shifted you, I'm pretty sure you can still do multiple hand rips under Shifter with Synchron. But yeah, so, I mean, I'm very much in a wait-and-see kind of mode. I'm going to wait and see how these first couple of weeks pan out, and just kind of, try not to doom too much. I think a lot of it is also, a lot of that anxiety can come from seeing all these people say, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sucks now, and Tenpai is going to ruin the game, and blah. And it's like, if you're in that mindset of, like, I don't want Yu-Gi-Oh! To be ruined for me, it's like, I would try to avoid that kind of discussion. It's not productive. It's not helpful from a competitive standpoint, and from an interest standpoint, it's obviously not the most conducive there either. But anyway, that's, I think, everything I have to say about Tenpai. Again, at the time of recording this, a couple of days before it comes out. But thanks, as always, for watching this video. I'm going to do it here in a moment in the outro. But again, like I said at the beginning, patrons and YouTube members, Patreon members and YouTube members, you're so unbelievably helpful, like, for just helping the channel content to come out every single day and affording me the time to be able to do that, take time out of my day to do that every single day to make sure things are going. So I really do appreciate you all. But again, also, just if you watch this video all the way till the end, that's actually like one of the best ways to support the channel, even outside of, like, additional memberships or anything. So, like, you're definitely the go-to if you've been watching this entire thing and are still listening to this now. But anyway, that's enough of me yapping. I think I'm just going to go ahead and now move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.